We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign of what's going to happen to these other workers moving forward.
I am curious what you think, not only about the pretty dramatic pullback we've seen in the price of Bitcoin since that peak earlier this month, but also what you think about continuing to add to your pile, why doing so right now made sense.
Well, it's not volatile to an investor with a 1 to 4 year time frame because it's boringly spectacular for the past decade. It's up 200% or more, pretty much on average every year for 10 years running. It's volatile for traders, but traders like volatility. So they're getting the volatility they like. It's attracting a lot of capital in the asset class. I think it's having a stellar year, and 2021 is going to be really good for Bitcoin.
Michael, it's Guy. Thanks for being here. Typically I would say you have to be a rocket scientist from MIT to understand this, but you happen to be exactly that. So I'm going to ask you this question. You're basically, first of all, I admire your temerity. I admire your passion about this. I truly do. And obviously it's reflected in your stock price. But how do the employees of the company feel about this? Because this is a huge bet in a lot of ways on the future of your company.
Well, when Google and Facebook and Amazon and Apple came out and they launched their digital networks, and when the internet came along and it was a new digital network for information, people weren't quite sure if they should embrace them. But I think 30 years later, companies that know how to use the internet and know how to work with Apple and Google and Facebook and social networks are the leading edge companies, and they're winning. Our employees are pretty delighted that we're pioneers in commercializing and integrating with this digital monetary network, because this is going to be the future.
And so I'm not going to ask you to play, stock market as we typically do, but what's the best case scenario for the price of Bitcoin? Like, what are you looking for? What are you planning? Because I would imagine at some point this has to come up on the earnings call, which I believe is within a week or so from now.
Well, look, Bitcoin's a digital monetary network, and the asset itself is the technically superior asset. It's the ideal institutional safe haven asset. So what's the future? The future is to flip gold. It's going to replace gold, and then after it replaces gold, it's going to become the monetary index that replaces stock indexes like the S&P 500, the Dow, the bond indexes, and the like. Because people that want to store their money, they want a safe haven store of value over the next 10 to 30 years, are going to be attracted to a digital asset that has no inflation in it.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, please like and subscribe if you do like what you're listening to. Please inform your friends and family and spread all over social media. It is imperative that we get back to learning finances and understand how the world really works. Because once we understand how the world really works, we understand that everything is planned out. Now, I want to thank those who purchased the books, Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book. Remember, those books are mandatory. Also, those who donate to the Cash App, Patreon, much love, keep it coming. And then also, those who are shopping at both stores, much love to you. And we get into Bitcoin and cryptos first. Now, as we can see, the market is flat, but what are the top cryptos right now? DeFi, that's right. And what's holding it up? That's right, Ethereum, guys. We know that the actual futures start February 8th. Put it on your calendar. And we're going to see what dates the actual Ethereum futures will close. Of course, I'm going to post that on a monthly basis. Now, we didn't get a lot of volume this weekend, guys. And like I stated, when those facilities close, it will shrink. We have CME futures coming up this Friday. This Friday, guys, on the 29th. That's going to bring volume back in. Also, we know the Fed cuts a check on Tuesday. Not as large, but they're still cutting checks. Remember, those facilities stay open until March 31st. And then also, guys, they need Bitcoin on the 5th of the month. So, guys, like I stated, make sure you're paying attention to your indicators. That is volume, tether, and USDC. We definitely have to pay close attention to these CME futures. This is going to be very, very important because we're going to see if Grayscale is going to do any manipulation. If not, we know we're going to be headed lower. Now, let's get over into the actual news. You listen to the video of Michael Saylor. I've done plenty of videos on Michael Saylor. Please go check those out. Now, basically, this article says that a massive move can be made in February. Now, we do have Michael Saylor is going to be holding a virtual event February 3rd and the 4th. Now, when you listen to the actual video, guys, let's pick this video apart. Now, she said that, Bitcoin has a lot of volatility, it's going down. His response is, if you're in it 1 to 4 year time frame, it doesn't matter. Also, he stated that, of course, with traders, we love volatility. He's exactly right about that. Now, he was asked about the price of what he thinks Bitcoin can go to, and of course, he dodges the question. But guys, let's make sure that we look deeper. When you actually look at MicroStrategy stock, it went from $90 all the way up to the high, I think it was like $630. Now, guys, we also know Morgan Stanley purchased 10% of the company, which we all know as part of JP Morgan, which we all know is part of the Federal Reserve. When we go back to Michael Saylor, Bitcoin doesn't stand a chance back in 2013. He makes a comment about the C word in March. Of course, the big investors gave him a call, and all of a sudden he becomes a spokesperson for Bitcoin. Now, when you actually look him going from $90 to $600 some dollars, we know that is billions and billions of dollars. So basically, that is the Fed's money that he's putting inside of what? Inside of Bitcoin. He's not taking any risks because it was the Fed buying his stock to move it from $90 to $600, guys. These stocks that we have now, they make no sense whatsoever. A lot of the stocks that's on the stock market haven't even made a product yet, and you have billions and billions of dollars in the market cap. Remember what I told you, they're putting this money in certain places so they can build this fourth industrial revolution, but it's Michael Saylor as a spokesperson to sell Bitcoin. Now, guys, when you have an asset, you don't need to sell it. But when you have a product, you definitely have to sell it. And we know that the Fed is creating this theme around Bitcoin as a store of value, but that was not the point of Bitcoin. We can easily go back and read the white paper, guys. That wasn't the idea. It was peer-to-peer payments. It was to take over the U.S. dollar for peer-to-peer transactions and take the Fed out the picture. But instead, it's the Fed that's pushing Bitcoin into this illusional of gold. And we know that the Federal Reserve, central banks, they hold all the gold. So definitely, guys, make sure you diversify yourself. But this is definitely nothing but a sale tactic to get people into actual Bitcoin. But we know Bitcoin is very volatile. Goes to 4,000, goes to 40,000. And who is controlling this volatility? That's right, guys, the Fed. They're not letting the market act naturally. And that's the point I'm trying to get at. It's not naturally happening. If they would allow Bitcoin to naturally scale, it would have been the greatest technology ever. Remember, when it comes to technology, guys, you have the good and the evil. And definitely Bitcoin was taken over. That's the reason why they're going to be coming out with Bitcoin Lightning. And the core of Bitcoin is just going to be sitting there. But anytime somebody's trying to sell you something, you definitely should be wary. And we clearly see Michael Saylor out pitching. We see him on CNBC all the time. And we know CNBC is controlled, guys. That's all you have to do is put two and two together. But basically, this article states that retail investors were the cause of the boom. And of course, we know that was the Fed and not Michael Saylor. Now, also, guys, we have Aave and Chainlink hit all-time highs. You know, guys, I told you to buy Aave when it was like 57 cents. And I promoted that in the Patreon, everything. So definitely, guys, we know that DeFi is a big piece of this picture. Like Brian Brooks said, DeFi is the new banking. Now we have Yearn Finance considers minting 200 million in Yearn Finance tokens. So that's definitely going to be interesting, guys, because we know the supply is small. Now we have Voyager gains 926%, and we know that used to be Ethos. And lastly, guys, we have Anthony Scaramucci. We know he is the hedge fund guy. Says that Bitcoin is a good long-term investment. Now, guys, we definitely know it has been a good long-term investment. But anytime we get these guys, these billionaires selling it, anytime we have the hedge fund guys coming in, we know their job is to do what? Take your money. Now, we know they want you to buy high. So the fact is they can buy low and then run it back up, so therefore they can sell high. It's nothing but a routine, guys. Same thing in the stock market. Don't forget about that. But that's all I have for you guys. Don't forget about the books, Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book. Also, if you're new to cryptos, Coinbase, BitChute, Binance, don't forget the book links and crypto links are in the description. Also, the Crypto Teacher stock channel, guys. Don't forget about the stock channel. Go like, subscribe. You have your Cobalt, chip stocks, banking, gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, don't forget about at-home stocks, the C-word, the biotech stocks. They keep pumping and dumping. And while everybody's at home getting free money or waiting on that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and y'all have a wonderful day.
Of course it was a bubble. If you want crazy ones, and you need crazy, by the way, that's the best timing for a bubble top, is crazy behavior. You look at the over-the-counter trading. I was a big over-the-counter trader in the speculative bubble of 1969. I'd almost forgotten there was a over-the-counter. But last February, it traded about 80 million shares for the month. And it worked its way steadily through the year until November was about 380. So it had gone up 4 times. And then in December, it went to 1.15 trillion shares for the month. Having tripled, it then tripled again in the single month of December. I can't tell you what it's going to be in January, but these are spectacular performances. My own stock in QuantumScape, it came into the market at 10 and shot up to 130. At 130, it was bigger than General Motors or Panasonic. And this is a brilliant company, but it has no trouble admitting that it won't be producing any batteries for 4 years. So no sales, no profits, and bigger than GM. There is nothing like that in 1929, nothing of that scale, nothing like that in 2000. The Ciscos of the world were pretty serious companies, but they didn't get to this